Alrighty, how's it going, everybody? Gaming Grandpa here with yet another year of my Football Manager tutorial, the MLS Explained. Now, unlike last year, I am trying to spice it up a little bit, and I'm going to have another tutorial series. It's going to be kind of like interactive. It's going to be called Lost in MLS. I'm going to be posting the first episode of that after I post this one. I just thought it was imperative to go ahead and explain the changes and different things like that from last year to this year. Okay, now this is part one called League Structure, and last year I had 2 episodes for this one. I'm going to go ahead and just put everything in here and get it over with. So we're going to go through this as quick as we can. All right, Major League Soccer owns all the rights to all the players. When a player signs a contract for the team, it's actually signing it for the league. That's why you can trade, and there's nothing they can do about it. All right, the max roster size hasn't changed. It's still 30. Minimum is still 18. Match day, this hasn't changed. It's still 11 starters. You get 9 subs, but you can only use 5 unless you have a concussion. I used it once last year, just once, but it's a safety thing. If a player is expected of having a concussion, the league doesn't want to see any more concussions or head injuries, long-term injuries, so that's why they invented that rule. That way it doesn't leave a team that has an unexpected injury short, and it's a pretty good deal. Hopefully you don't have to use it because your player is going to be out for a while, but if you need to, it's there, so that's really cool. Okay, now, unlike last year, there's still 29 teams, still 2 conferences, the East and the West. Last year, St. Louis City, we started in the East, and then they moved them to the West after the update. It was really, really weird, but this year, it's 15 teams in the East and 14 in the West. Now, each conference, each team plays 34 games. You play 2 games against each conference opponent, 1 home and 1 away, and then the rest of the games are divided up and you play equal amount with the other conference, home and away. So if you're in the West, you're going to play 26 games, so the other 8 games you're going to play 4 home and 4 away against the East. All right, most games are played on Saturday, and sometimes you'll have 2 games a week, and I've had games range from Monday to Thursday and 1 on Friday. It's really weird how they do it. It just depends on what else is going on in the season. All right, this year in a Football Manager, you're a year behind. In the MLS, when you start, it starts 2023. So the roster compliance date is Saturday, March 4th of 2023. Also, next in 2025, in real life, the 30th MLS team is going to be San Diego. It was close to being Sacramento last year, but they went with San Diego, and Las Vegas was the runner-up. That's important to know because in Football Manager next year, they hopefully will have another expansion team. Okay, we're going to talk about the All-Star Game. I wish they would make up their mind on this and stick with it. It's really, really crazy. Now, I was wrong last year, and I'll get into that in just a bit, but it's going to be played in Football Manager, going to be played July 19th, and it's going to be against Arsenal this year. Last year, the past 2 years, it was against Liga MX, the Mexican All-Stars, and I don't know why they went back to it. Maybe because we had the League's Cup now, maybe. I don't know. But the participants, all of the players, are voted by the fans for just a starting lineup. The manager of the All-Star Game gets to pick the remaining ones, and I do believe this year, since it's being played in Washington, D.C. at D.C. United's home field, that the manager there gets to pick the rest of the players. And I thought it was based on if you won. It's not. They changed that. It's wherever the game is located, at what stadium, that's the manager. So they rotate. All right, previous teams include Real Madrid, Roma, Man United, Chelsea, Juventus, and Bayern Munich, and there's been a lot more. I know Tottenham, there's been quite a few teams that have been here. Some have been here more than once. All right, let's continue. Okay, the Supporter Shield pretty much is the team in the league out of both conferences that has the most points. All right, and they win a trophy. It's called the Supporter Shield, and they end up getting a CONCACAF berth, and more on that later. All right, currently, in real life, the most wins are DC United and LA Galaxy with 4. And last year's winner, well, it would have been 2023's winner in real life, was Cincinnati. They won the Supporter Shield. All right, we also have the U.S. Open, the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Now, this is similar to the FA Cup because it starts like almost a year ahead of time. Last year there was 103 teams. This year there's 100 teams. Now, any soccer club in America, it can play in this thing. It's just you have to file for it and different things like that. But you could be professional, you can be amateur or whatever. Now the MLS teams, they always get invited. I've never seen one turn it down. So they all join. And I'm not going to go through all the acronyms, but you can see the USL Championship, United Soccer Leagues, League One. There's a bunch of different acronyms for all the different soccer leagues in the United States. And here's an important one: the MLS Next Pro, which is your B team. They're also invited into this. So how unique would that be if you got lined up against your B team in a qualifying round? That would be crazy. Okay, it's a single elimination tournament, and the MLS enters in the fourth round. Now, let me go into that just a second. The teams that get the byes enter the fourth round. So it's like the top, I don't know, eight teams from each conference get a bye, and the rest of them are in the third round or second round even. They have to qualify just like the FA Cup. All right. Now, the winner earns a CONCACAF berth. And I submitted this picture over here. I just wanted you to see that, it's started November 18th, the fourth qualifying round. And you can see some of the weird teams that are in there, some of the weird names, a lot of amateur teams. And, every now and then an amateur team will sneak up there. All right, the MLS Cup. This is pretty much the playoffs. If you're familiar with, American sports, it's like the World Series. It's the Super Bowl. It's the playoffs. Okay, I'm not going to talk about the old way because I'm pretty sure this year, I'm hoping this year that they put the new way in, but I don't know. I covered the old way last year. There's 16 teams. The top 7 teams are seeded, and the winner of each conference gets a bye, and it's just a single cup, and the winner gets a CONCACAF berth. All right. Now the new way is, I'm pretty sure they're going to be doing it in Football Manager, but they might not. They might stick with the old way. I haven't got to the playoffs yet, so I'm sorry about that. That's why I included both ways. But the new format in real life is there's 18 teams. All right. The top 7 teams in each conference advance to round 1 automatically, so they get a bye. Then there's a wild card game between the 8th and 9th seeded teams. So the 8th and 9th place finishers of the conference play each other, and the winner advances to round 1. Now, this year, in real life, round 1 is the best of 3 with the top seed playing at home twice. So the number 1 team is going to play the winner of the 8-9 team, all right? And then they'll play at home the first game, away the second game, and home the third game. And whoever wins 2 first advances, all right? Now, I will let you know that St. Louis is playing Kansas City, St. Louis being around the number 1 seed overall in the conference, and they lost to Kansas City at home. So, that's going to be kind of crazy. All right, the remaining rounds will be single elimination after that. And then the MLS Cup winner earns the CONCACAF berth. Okay, the Leagues Cup, I didn't include this last year, but it's in the game. I can confirm that one. Basically, the Champions Cup, a lot of countries were complaining that they didn't have, they're never going to have a chance to win it, and and they need more berths. Well, they created the Leagues Cup for Mexico and the USA to get more berths since they've given it to other countries too. So we'll go into all that here in a little bit. But every team between Mexico and the USA, the MLS I should say, are invited. Every team. They're all single elimination except for the group stage. We'll get into that in a second. The top team from each league gets a bye and don't have to go through the group stage. So the MLS Supporter Shield winner, gets a bye. The next 15 teams are slotted into the group stages. All right, they're seeded 1 and 2. And then the remaining teams are drawn pretty much to fit the 15 groups, the 3 teams. And the top 2 teams advance. The winner-loser will earn a CONCACAF berth of the final. All right, and the winner of the third place game earns a CONCACAF berth. So there's 3 berths up per bids right there. So if you get to the final and you lose it, you're still going to get to the Champions Cup. All right. Now, in real life, Miami won last year, Nashville finished second, and Philadelphia won the third place game. So those 3 teams automatically qualified for the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Okay, the Champions Cup. It's a new format this year, and it was in the game this way last year, so it's going to be kind of interesting. It's formally called the Champions League. All right, starting in 24, it's going to be called the Champions Cup. All right. Now, they used the old format last year, and I'm pretty sure this year they're using the new format. Okay, It gets really, really, really confusing, but just kind of bear with me. 5 teams enter directly into the round of 16. The winner of all the different cups, the Caribbean Cup, so the winner of the tournament, the winner of the Central American Cup, the League's Cup winner, which this year is Miami, the MLS Cup winner, and then the Liga MX winner. Okay, that's the 5 teams that automatically get into the round of 16. The remaining teams come from all the different berths. Okay, Canada actually gets 3. Now, this is where it gets tricky with Canada because they play in the Canadian Shield, the teams that are in the MLS, but they can't qualify for the Canadian Championship because they're in the MLS. It's Vancouver, Toronto, and Montreal. All right, but they can still win the Shield, which is really confusing. Okay, but they get 3 berths. The Caribbean Cup gets 2 berths, additional berths, I should say, and then Central American Cup gets 5 berths. The League's Cup, of course, gets the extra 2. Liga MX gets 5, and then the MLS gets 4. The U.S. Open Cup winner also gets 1 for a total of 27 teams altogether. It's a single elimination. The winner earns a 2025 FIFA Club World Cup berth, and Seattle is the only MLS team to ever win the Champions League. Now, we won it last year in St. Louis here in my Building Dynasty save, but it took a while. Okay, last structure I'm going to talk about is the FIFA Club World Cup. Now it's every 4 years. It used to be every year, but they added more teams to it. It's a single elimination tournament. You actually don't win any money unless you win the doggone final. It's crazy. It used to be where even if you just made the tournament, you made $2 million. But this year you don't. It's really kind of aggravating. And it's a single elimination, but they do have a group stage. But I didn't want to go into this too much because it's only every 4 years, and so be it. But the 32 teams come from the Asian Champions League. They get 4. The African Champions League gets 4. CONCACAF, which is MLS, Mexico, Caribbean, they get 4. The Champions League winner from CONCACAF from 21, 22, and 23 they're the 3 of the teams that get in. And the Champions Cup winner from 2024 make it in. All right. Now, CONMEBOL, which is South America, they get 6. Oceanic gets 1. I put UEFA. It's UEFA. Duh. Sorry, guys. They get 12. The European countries, of course, get 12. All right. The host nation gets 1 team. Now in 2025, the USA is going to host the FIFA Club World Cup. I don't know what team's going to get in it. It's just I don't know how they're going to pick that. But the host country or host nation gets an automatic berth too. So that's kind of cool. But anyway, guys, that takes care of the league structure. There is nothing after that. I got to click, and I decided to go ahead and do my PowerPoint presentation because I just think it conveys the information to you so much easier, and that way you can always fall back and look at it. I'm going to try to put timestamps in it, and we'll see how well that goes. But if you really enjoyed that, please smash the like button. It helps other people that are struggling at MLS kind of get to my tutorial series, and I'm going to have the same thing that I did last year, just with updates and changes, and I'm also having an interactive one once again with the MLS, or Lost in the MLS, and I think you're going to enjoy that one. But go ahead, smash the like button, drop me some comments, please. I am really good about replying, and then if you want more videos, subscribe. All right? It helps my channel out grow, and I really appreciate that. But the main thing is it helps other people find information on the MLS, because there's a lot of convoluted information out there, a lot of wrong information, and I've done a lot of research to get this right. I still make mistakes, but it's information that you might not have had before. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and stay tuned for the next episode.